Imagine for a second a world where numbers aren't just symbols on a page, but actual secrets to understanding the entire universe. We're going back in time to 7th century India. Picture flickering oil lamps and all of human knowledge being painstakingly recorded on palm leaf texts. It's here that a mystery was being solved, a definition that would literally echo for centuries. So, what makes a true mathematician? I mean, really think about that. It's a question that goes so much deeper than just being good with numbers, right? It gets to the very heart of what it means to truly understand something. And the answer we're about to unlock, well, it's nearly 1,500 years old. Our journey takes us to this brilliant thinker, a man named Brahmagupta. Now, he didn't just calculate things. He wanted to define the very soul of his craft. He had this powerful idea that the whole world of mathematics could be understood through just two core concepts. And here they are, two Sanskrit words that hold the entire secret, parikarma and vyavahara. Now, on the surface, they're just words, but believe me, inside them lies Brahmagupta's complete vision of what it really takes to be a mathematician. So let's decode this thing, starting with the first piece of the puzzle. First up, parikarma. You can think of this as the language of numbers. This is where it all begins. This is the foundation, the engine room of all of mathematics. So parikarma is all about the pure mechanical skill. It's about having raw fluency with numbers. It's kind of like a musician learning their scales or a writer learning the alphabet. It's knowing the absolute rules of the game. It's the very heartbeat of arithmetic itself. And just look at how fundamental these are. Addition, subtraction, squares, roots. Brahmagupta saw these as more than just operations. To him, they were the essential language of numbers, and he believed that without being fluent here, nothing else was even possible. But look, knowing the language is only half the battle, isn't it? And that brings us to the second concept, vyavahara. This is what he called the world in motion. This is where math stops being abstract and actually comes alive in the real world. Vyavahara is all about application. It's about taking that language of numbers we just talked about and using it to describe, to understand, and to actually shape the world around us. It's not just math on a page anymore. This is mathematics in action. Just think about it for a sec. Using math for trade, figuring out profit and loss, measuring a plot of land. He even included stuff like calculating the length of a shadow to understand how the sun moves across the sky. This isn't abstract stuff. This is math with a real purpose. So it really all comes down to this powerful idea. You've got parikarma, that's the mechanics, the language of numbers, and then you have vyavahara, that's the application, the real-world story. One is knowing how to do the math, the other is knowing why it actually matters. Okay, so with these two concepts locked in our minds, we can finally uncover the definition itself. This is Brahmagupta's revelation. What's so amazing is that he condensed this entire philosophy down into its most elegant possible form. Just two numbers, with each one representing one of these big ideas. The first number is 20. This stands for what he called the 20 logistics, basically those foundational operations of parikarma, the core skills of calculation that we saw just a minute ago. And the second number is 8. This represents what he called the 8 determinations, those core practical applications of vyavahara, everything from measuring a field to tracking the sun. Which brings us to his incredible conclusion. He who knows the 20 logistics and the 8 determinations is a mathematician. It's so clear, right? It's not enough to just know the mechanics, and it's not enough to just see the problems. A true mathematician, in his eyes, has to master both. Now, I know what you might be thinking. That's a fascinating bit of history from 7th century India, but what does it have to do with us today? Well, it turns out this ancient idea is probably more relevant now than it has ever been. Brahmagupta's world, it was one of ancient manuscripts and doing physical land surveys and literally measuring shadows cast by the sun. But his definition perfectly connects that ancient world to our world, a world of complex algorithms, intricate financial models, and just massive data sets stored in the cloud. The tools have changed completely, but the core principle, it hasn't changed one bit. Think about the most valuable skills in the world today. We don't just want people who can memorize formulas and do the calculations. We need people who can apply them. People like data scientists, engineers, financial analysts. Their whole job is to use the mechanics of math to solve huge real-world problems. They are, essentially, the modern masters of both parikarma and vivahara. And this wisdom, it stretches so far beyond just mathematics. It's really a universal truth about knowledge itself. At the end of the day, it's not just about what you know, it's about what you can do with what you know. It's about the pure power of applied logic. So if we were to boil down Brahmagupta's 1,400-year-old secret into a single, timeless piece of wisdom, it would have to be this: to know and to apply is to truly know. Which leaves all of us with a final thought. Brahmagupta said a true master needs both. But in our own lives, in our own learning, where do we tend to put our focus? Is it on simply gathering more and more knowledge, or is it on the act of actually applying it? That timeless challenge, it remains.